Hola mi gente bella y bienvenidos a mi canal. My name is Sandra. If this is your first time here, and welcome to my channel. In this channel, you'll be learning and I'll be speaking about everything high-end or luxury candle making business tips. So, you started a candle business. You have everything set in place. Your hot throw and cold throw are off, performing phenomenally, and you're at the point of creating labels and naming your candle. However, you don't want to use the fragrance scents from the fragrance suppliers because you want to keep your business to stand out and to connect with your customers. And most importantly, you want to create a name that's noteworthy and give your customers a sense that they've purchased an amazing one-of-a-kind product or a one-of-a-kind scent. So that when they do purchase that product, they think that they have made a well worth buy because with your product, they found something better. So, in this video, we're going to be discussing 5 tips on how to name your products or your candle scents, so let's get popping. Tip numero uno, reliability but not too descriptive. Because we as humans tend to use logic to explain things, we tend to gravitate to the simple things, and then we think that this is how our customers also want their items. However, I realized that my best scents tend to be the ones that don't necessarily have the scent in the name, or in the title, or in the actual label. Why? Because people will glance at it and know exactly what it is by just browsing at the name. However, if the name of your product was, for instance, Notes of Love, and the item was a massage oil, then the curious mind will wander towards that item to read more about the product and the reason behind you naming that product the way that you named it. However, keep in mind that there are certain products that can be named just as they smell, look, and feel, which can give a sense of reliability to the customer because they already know what the items look, smell, and feel. And also more on that in a later tip. So then this brings me on to tip numero dos. Bring joy to an awkward product or scent. Definitely, let me explain tip numero dos. We tend to correlate events with emotions or scents with feelings, and this is normal as we call this deja vu or nostalgia or possibly memories. So for example, I'm going to be using myself here as an example. So when I was growing up, my mother owned a sewing company where she had employees and used to sew for large companies before all of those tasks went overseas. After school, my siblings and I used to go to La Factoria, as we used to call it, to help my mom out. So when she used to have things that other co-workers were too busy to do, or her workers were not necessarily going to do it because they didn't have time or whatever, or if she was probably behind on a deadline, then she would call us to go help, because hello, we're her kids. And anyways, that's another story. So, we were the hired help, or as in the military, we were voluntold to do it. So, back in the days, we couldn't say no. We couldn't say no. No. We couldn't say that. So, I kind of correlated sewing with not having fun, because as a kid, I wanted to be outside playing. I wanted to be on the phone talking to my friends. I wanted to be doing, kid stuff outside and stuff like that. And because I was helping my mother out at her factory, at her factoria, I couldn't do it. I mean, I'm not saying that I used to do it every day and all the time, but I wanted to go outside and play. So I'm over here freaking cutting threads while my friends are cutting up outside, and I wanted to be cutting up outside, not cutting threads. So I kind of correlated sewing with not having fun. So therefore, I refused to learn how to sew, as I now wish that I learned, because I could be designing my own outfits, because my mom still has sewing machines that are in very good condition that I could have probably used. Anyways, I said all all that to say this. Certain smells can either bring joy or sadness, and this is why sometimes we should research our scent and our products to know what people think of certain things. There are many people that don't like scents such as jasmine, lavender, vetiver, or even patchouli because it's either too floral or too earthy for them, and it could also bring some sort of emotion to them. So I honestly don't care too much for jasmine, so I ran a poll very early on in my Instagram page when I was first starting out, and I put a list of scents up, and jasmine had one, it was on that list, and a lot of people had chose jasmine as that scent, and that prompted me to include jasmine to my line. Also, fruity scents are not scents that I kind of gravitate towards, but you should always have a variety of scents in your shop so that people will have options to pick from. So this is why I'm going to be adding a few fruity scents, because you do find those scents in a spa-like setting and in aromatherapy. So yeah, I'm gonna have to be adding some sort of fruity scent to my line because a lot of people are asking me for those scents. And you gotta please your customers in a very good way. If it works for you and it works for them, by all means, do it. So in that instance, so giving your product a combined name on either the product's performance or its benefits can override the notion of someone correlating a bad decision with a pleasant scent or emotion in your product. So if you have customers that are asking you for scents that you don't particularly like, you can blend those scents. So for example, if you don't like lavender, but you do like patchouli, then you could blend the lavender scent that has a very good sleeping aid properties with the warm, earthy, woody notes of patchouli to give your candle a unique, fresh, floral, earthy scent, and call it the Garden of Dreams. Because earthy, garden, lavender, sleep, dreams. Anyways, that's what I was thinking. This brings me to tip numero 3. Keep it trendy, keep it trendy, keep it trendy. Yeah, that was stupid. Keep it trendy but on brand, and you guessed it, you better at this point know your niche, know your target audience. Know them in and out, know them. Also be aware that you need to do some research for this to work. Just claiming that you are your own target audience is not enough. And definitely don't assume because you are your target audience that everyone you're trying to sell your products to will automatically fall in love with your brand and your product. Then you might need to rethink that. So keeping your product name trendy can be tricky because trends die and so does its popularity. However, we had to add a but to this situation here. If it's a trendy term used by your industry, then it could work. For instance, I'm in the aromatherapy niche, and terms like relaxation, ease, calm, soothing are all terms that, although not trendy now, it was trendy at some point, and it's a jargon used in my niche. Therefore, using these terms in my product is a good fit. But again, since most of these terms are overused, I have to keep those terms in my product name to a minimum. So I stick those terms in the description of my products to describe my scents, and products to give the descriptive picture of what the name of the scent means when the customer browses through those items. So terms like seductive, alluring, romantic, intriguing, gracefulness, or robust in the name are a better alternative to using calm and ease in the product name, because those are better synonyms than using the before mentioned ones. So keep in mind of whatever your brand stands for and use those names in your product. For instance, is your brand a lifestyle business such as eco-friendly or vegan? Maybe it's an outdoor theme brand, and the words energetic and free resonate with your customers, or maybe you're in the comedic niche and giving your product a witty or funny name. Even if trends come and go, it would probably work with the comedic niche. Bottom line for this tip is that you should research your niche, know your target audience, know your brand, and you will easily come up with a name for your products. And if you're in a nostalgic niche, just like Erica over at Memory Box Candle Co., then you'll notice that most, if not all, of her product names are reminiscent of a time in her life where those scents she named her candles, reminding her of something pleasant in her life. And her branding is on point because I was able to just look at her page, follow her, and know exactly what her branding is about. And most of the names of her candles are reminiscent of something that happened to her, even if she uses the same scents that you and I use in our shop, but she uses it in a different way, which causes her customers to feel nostalgic and to have a better correlation with whatever her candles are. This brings me to step numero 4. Keep your product name relatable. Keep it relatable. Keep it relatable. Let's explain. Keep your product name relatable with your audience and to your brand. You don't want to randomly name your products because although you want to keep the name unique, trendy, and uncommon, it must also stay on brand. For instance, it wouldn't be on brand for me to suddenly sell cupcake candles or candles with decorative embeds because although my target audience might like those types of candles, they wouldn't associate my luxury brand candles with those dessert candles, and they certainly wouldn't come to my store to purchase those types of candles. However, I can create a collection for the holidays with dessert scented candles by keeping them on brand. And this way, I'm incorporating a trendy holiday with an emotionally named scent while keeping it relatable to my brand and to my audience. See what I did there? I combined all those tips together. You see that? I can also introduce bath products because along with aromatherapy, my sub niche is spa therapy as well. Just in case you haven't noticed. I'm sure you have. So correlating bath salts, soaps, and bath accessories will be ideal in my brand just as long as I keep my brand product names relatable to my audience. And we are to tip numero 5. Tip numero 5 is do not reinvent the wheel. Do not reinvent the wheel. And what do I mean by this? Okay, so I know I started this video advising you to keep your product name unique and memorable for your customers and to keep it on brand. Good. However, I did mention that there are going to be instances that the name of the product or the supply that you purchase kind of fits the item. So if you originally purchased that item and that item was lavender, then keep the name lavender. However, if you don't want to keep the name lavender, you want to give it a more popped out name or standoff-ish name, then you can do that as well. But don't reinvent the wheel. If it smells like lavender, keep it lavender, and don't give yourself a head trying to figure out a clever name or coming up with some synonyms for that one word that fits great, but you don't want to use it for whatever reason. So, for example, dessert scented fragrance oils technically almost always smells like the name that was given to it. So gingerbread smells like, you guessed it, gingerbread. Pecans smells like pecans. Pine almost always smells like pine. Strawberry shortcake, you catch my drift, right? So likewise, there are some scents that do not fit the name, and whatever you think that the fragrance oil smells like, then use that for the candle scent. So if you picked up that pine fragrance oil and it smells like mint to you, then name it something with the word mint in it or something related to mint, because to you it smells like mint and not pine. So the same can be said for a clothing brand. So if you're in the clothing niche, there are certain pieces of clothing that look the part. So, for example, it's almost always easier to name the clothing based on how you feel while you wear it, right? So, I'm wearing this white shirt and I feel like I'm a baddie in this white shirt. So I'm gonna call it the baddest white baddie set. I'm just saying. So just naming it however you feel in it is an easier way to name your clothing. And also, you could keep it trendy. And also, if you sell out, you don't have to worry about the trend dying off because you already sold out of that trendy outfit name that you had in your shop, right? Makes sense, right? However, on that same note, keep in mind that if you purchase from a popular vendor, like Candle Science, The Flaming Candle, Nature's Garden, and decide to keep the fragrance oil name, then know that others will know what scents they are getting. On the other hand, maybe they won't since they're not candle makers. Well, hopefully they aren't. So you can technically get away with it, but if those customers are comparing your Caribbean teak wood from candle maker A from your Caribbean teak wood from the same supplier, California Candle Supply, even if that customer is not a candle maker, but then you sell your Caribbean teak wood, which is a 13-ounce black jar, at $10 more than candle maker A over here, which has the same 13-ounce black jar and the same scent, then chances are that you might be in a bit of a pickle. So unless your branding is on point, I will highly caution you to use this tip very, 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 very sparingly because it is a very, very easy way to discourage customers from purchasing from you because, the name is the same as the next candle maker over there. So ultimately, you know your brand, you know your product, and you should definitely know your target audience to create a reliable, joyful, trendy, relatable product name without necessarily reinventing the product naming wheel. I hope you enjoyed this video. 5 tips on naming your products, which can also be used to name your business, right? Kind of. And name anything in your business, really, right? Because I gave you an example of a clothing brand, maybe, whatever. So don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and comment down below if these tips are helpful to you, or comment on anything else that you want me to talk to you about and make a video about. So, hasta la próxima. Bye, mi gente bella.